right. Good morning, sweet children. Woo, this is exciting. You guys look so beautiful today. How about you? All right, so I'm here to talk to you about a light subject, the apocalypse. Right? The last few years have been kind of terrible, right? We've had some things I don't think we could imagine. It started off, Australia and California were on fire. That was awkward. And then we got into the pandemic. And at first it was kind of fun. Hey, school was shut down. Then it wasn't fun. And then it just kept going and going. And every time you turned around, there was a protest, there was a shooting, there was a riot, and just a lot of people were full of hate and fear. And my goodness, it got so bad at one point, the government actually announced that UFOs are real, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. You know, we just say, hey, what's on Netflix? I gotta go tweet something, okay? And we just kept rolling on. That's how crazy things got. And I know me and my family, I'm sure you and your family had a lot of personal struggles as well. A lot of adversity to overcome. Dealing with depression and all sorts of other issues. And my message to you today is, it's gonna be okay, all right? All the problems, all the struggles you have, you're gonna get through it, and I want you to stay in the fight. And how can I make this promise to you? Well, because it's happened before. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my story, my family's story, dealing with struggles and adversity, and how to overcome. And it kind of goes back to the 1970s when I was born in the Bronx. Any Bronx people here? Right? A shout out for the Bronx. Woo, love the Bronx. And back then, the Bronx was also on fire. If you remember that, like California and Australia. And we left and we moved out to Long Island to live the suburban dream in a nice town very similar to Eastchester. And quickly things started to fall apart. My father and my grandmother, my babcha, Ukrainian word for grandma, were killed in a wreck on the Southern State Parkway. And things went downhill from there. I was learning disabled, I was flunking out of school, I was being bullied mercilessly, and I was looking into the abyss. I didn't have any hope. I couldn't figure out how to get out of bed in the morning. It was an apocalypse for me. And my mother was always there to support me, and she was a crazy mom. You know, oh, you're beautiful and you're so handsome and everything's gonna be great, but you don't believe your mom, right? Because your mom's crazy. She's always saying these things. And then my mom finally got a little tough with me. She said, hey, I think it's time you learned about your family's history and that you're not the only person ever to have struggles. I said, okay, tell me. She said, I want to tell you about your babcha, my Ukrainian grandma. And she goes, you know, she was basically a superhero. I said, what are you talking about, babcha? You know, I knew nothing about my babcha. I knew she was a nice lady who made apple strudel, right? And as a chubby kid, that's how you identify people, by what pastry they bring to the house. You know, and I said, what are you talking about? How is she a superhero? Was apple strudel radioactive and it gave her superpowers? She said, no. When she was a young girl, she came face to face with evil and won. That got my attention. I said, tell me more. And she said when she was a young girl growing up in Ukraine, she wasn't worried about obesity, she was worried about starving to death. Her and her family were victims of Stalin's Holodomor, which was the Ukrainian genocide. In order to break the Ukrainians' will to resist the communist collective farms, he took out all the food. And Stalin let millions of people starve to death. And when that was over, a few years later, Stalin again came with something called the Great Terror. And another purge happened, and more hundreds of thousands of people died. And just when they were getting back on their feet, Hitler was now master of Germany. And my babcha was, unsuspected. She didn't know anything about Hitler. And all of a sudden, 1941, Hitler unleashes what was known as Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. It was the largest land battle in the history of the world, and babcha's on the front line. Quickly, her village is captured, her family is murdered, and she's put into a camp. For the rest of the war, my babcha would be a slave. And as I'm hearing this story, I can't believe what I'm hearing. I had never known this about my babcha, and I immediately asked my mother, how did she survive this? How did she get through this camp? You know, being a slave. And my mother said, your babcha understood one thing, that no matter how bad things were, she always had control of her reaction to it. That was her superpower. Whatever the evil dictators could do to her, she wasn't going to let them win. Her victory was that one day she was going to resurrect the Boris family. She was not going to let us be erased from history, that one day we would have a good life again. And I said, oh my God. And she eventually got out of the camp. Hitler commits suicide. She gets on a boat. She has 2 small children. She's a single mom. She gets to Philadelphia. Homeless, penniless, can't speak the language. And I'm like, she must have been terrified. She goes, she wasn't terrified. This was a good start, because now she had a chance, and a chance is all you need. And slowly but surely she built up her family, trials and tribulations, and when she finally passed away, she owned a small business, she had remarried, owned her own house, met 4 grandkids, and beat Stalin and Hitler by having a good life. And when I heard this, I was energized. I said, my goodness, how could I be related to such an immensely powerful person? And I was also terrified, because now I'm on the hook. Oh my God, I gotta go and do something with my life. I just can't give up. I can't crawl into a ditch and die. I gotta go and do, but how? I had no idea. And that's when my mom looked at me and said, son, you gotta go play some football. And she got me onto the football field. And then she said, hey, let's get you tested. And I got an IEP. I was learning disabled, surprise, surprise. And the coaches, the teachers, all the people in the community helped raise me up. A lot of help. And you had to accept that help. And sure enough, things started to turn around. And I was no longer the fat kid. I was now captain of the football team. I was getting A's and B's. And we're doing it. We're beating Stalin and Hitler all over again. And one day I knock on my classroom door and the principal comes in. And I wasn't in trouble. I wasn't like a dirtbag like Mateo or Lestrange or, Jessica, I wasn't vaping. Well, back then it was smoking, right? A little different time. And he said, come on, come to the office. And I was excited because this meant I was going to be recruited by a college scout. That's how it used to go. The principal came and got you. There was a college scout. I'm like, here we go. All right, we're doing it. And when I got to the office, it was just him. He said, Steve, I'm sorry. There's no scout. There was a terrible accident, and your mom is dead. And just like that, I was at the abyss again. The apocalypse was there again. And I really thought about crawling into a ditch, crawling into a bottle, going to a crack house. But the community, the town, people like this here got behind me and would not let me fail. We got through it together, and we got through it with love. And that's my message for all you people right now, okay? As things in this world are pulling us apart, extreme left, extreme right, Stalin, Hitler, right, whatever it may be, the answer is always love. The answer is always your community and your family. That's how you get through hard times together. Hate never solved anything, and it was love that saved me. It was love that saved my babcha and got her out of the bloodlands of Europe. And I'd also like to tell you about the meaning of the word apocalypse. People think it's the end of the world. It means your masks come off and the truth is revealed. And that's what's about to happen to you. You guys are about to graduate. Your mask is about to come off. We're going to find out who you really are. And let me tell you something, my sweet children. Your teachers, your parents, your coaches here at Eastchester, we've already had a peek under that mask. We know who you are. We've seen your heart, we've seen your soul, and we are damn proud. We know that you guys are going to be the generation to turn all this stuff around, all this craziness and suffering and pain and hate. You guys are going to be the ones to get it done, because we know who you are, and we love you. You're our beloved children, and we'll always be here for you. We love you. And for the last time, let me say, thanks for playing high school